yourself at home. Consider yourself.
The Break Room with Marty Shields.
We've taken a you so strong, it's clear.
Single stories.
Consider yourself well in. Consider yourself.
Hi, welcome to the program. I'm your host Marty, and you are in the Break Room. Single stories. And the song here below me somewhere is a tune from the 1960s musical Oliver. And the singer, who is Steve Marriott, was a member of a band whose story is connected to the story we're telling today about a singer and a song. In fact, his band, Small Faces, helped this singer today start his career and actually become a big success in the 70s. But before we actually look at that, we're going to take a look at this band, Small Faces, and one of their hits from 1967, I'm not sure, is called Itchycoo Park. So sit back, relax, fire up a Colatini, and watch the pictures as they fly through the air. We'll be right back.
Over bridge of sights, to rest my eyes in shades of green, under dreaming spires, to Itchycoo Park, that's where I've been. What did you do there? I got high. What did you feel there? When I cried. Why the tears there? Tell you why. It's all too beautiful. It's all too beautiful. It's all too beautiful. It's all too beautiful.
Like, subscribe, comment. Music History thanks you.
Got any ideas for a band name? Welcome back to the program. Now, we could start this particular episode with that song we just heard, Consider Yourself, from the musical Oliver by Steve Marriott, but we're not. We're going to jump ahead a few years. In 1965, maybe 66, a young musician, guitarist, singer from London is looking to form a band, and he actually puts out a wanted advertisement, or well, I guess advert, in the local paper. Here it is. He ends up forming his own band called the Outcasts, Ronnie Lane and the Outcasts, and here's Ronnie kind of looking for, I don't know, something on the horizon in this photo, and of course here on the very end is his friend drummer Kenny Jones, and they do pretty well. They're okay. They're playing around London, and Ronnie kind of realizes that maybe he's not going to be the best lead guitarist ever, so he decides to go ahead and switch out and become a bass player. He goes into a local music store called J60 Music Bar in Menlo Park, I think, maybe. I might be wrong on that one. And he's looking for a bass guitar, and he runs across a cocky, smart-ass salesperson, Steve Marriott, same guy, the one-time child actor, and he ends up buying a bass guitar that day, and these two people become friends. Let's go into Steve Marriott. Steve Marriott, as I said, was a child actor in the 60s. He did some movies. He actually was in two different bands, and because of his hard-headed, kind of aggressive attitude, he gets kicked out of both bands. It comes to be that Steve and Ronnie get to know each other. In fact, Steve actually goes to one of the gigs that the Outcasts are playing, and joins them on stage and busts up a piano, but they become friends, and both Ronnie, Steve, and Kenny decide to form a band together. The name of their band is Small Faces. Around the same time in 1966, Rod Stewart is playing in a band. He's playing harmonica. He's a part-time singer in a band with Long John Baldry. It's kind of like a review band. They don't really play any originals. They kind of play whatever the cool hits are of the time, kind of an R&B band. And Rod actually gets his own recording contract just for him because the band's not doing anything original, so he figures he's going to make some money on the side, and he actually signs with Decca Records. That band folds because this aren't happening, and he actually joins another band called Shotgun Express. Not a real good name for a band, but maybe it was hip back then with Bonnie and Clyde being happening. I don't know. Bad name for a band. He eventually quits the Shotgun Express band and is picked up by guitarist Jeff Beck and his group. And while he's there, he meets a guitarist by the name of Ron Wood. And Ron Wood, at the time, came over from a band called The Byrds. Not the Byrds from America, but The Byrds, B-I-R-D-S. Back to the Small Faces. Steve Marriott is tired of playing mod music. They're kind of known as a mod band, Small Faces. So they have a couple of hits. But Steve wants to do a little more hardcore R&B stuff in '68. And he tries to convince the other guys in Small Faces to add another guitarist, a really good lead guitarist by the name of Peter Frampton. And the other guys in Small Faces are just not having it. So what happens in, I think it was New Year's Eve 1968, Steve Marriott quits the band after a show one night. So Small Faces does no longer have a lead singer or a guitarist. Small Faces are looking around for a guitarist who sings like Steve Marriott does. They're having a hard time, but over in the Jeff Beck group, Rod's kind of done with Jeff Beck. He's tired of playing there, singing with the band. So he ends up leaving, and both he and Ron Wood join Small Faces. And so they don't get just a guitarist who sings, they get a guitarist, and they get a lead singer. In October of '69, Rod Stewart joins the Small Faces, who at that time changed their names to just Faces. Now, like before, Rod Stewart has a contract aside from the guys in Faces. He's had that since '66. It's never been a problem because it's never done that well for him. Of course, that all changes. In 1969, 1970, he starts writing with a musician from London by the name of Martin Quintenton. And by this time, Rod's with another recording company on his own contract. And this time he actually signs in 1969, 1970 with Mercury Records. He puts out an album, and the album is one song short, and so it's decided that he's going to throw on a song on the album that he doesn't really like. It's a song that him and Martin have written, and they kind of throw it on just kind of as an afterthought, and sure enough, this is the song that actually starts Rod Stewart's career, Maggie May.
Wake up, Maggie, I think I got something to say to you. It's late September and I really should be back at school.
The success of Maggie May does great for Rod, but not so much Faces. And it starts to cause a little bit of attention in the band. I mean, for the first time, Rod is more popular, at least financially, with the group. And the band's kind of feeling that he's not really giving him the best songs that he's written. He's saving them for himself, which might be true in some way. Rod continues to do well as a solo artist, and he still plays with Faces on tour and that kind of thing, even recording albums. But again, the attention is starting to grow. He's getting more and more famous in the group. In fact, in 1971 or 70, I think, he writes another song with Martin that people think is just a rearrangement of Maggie May. Here is Rod Stewart with the band Faces in 1971 on Top of the Pops doing his song, You Wear It Well.
I had nothing to do on this hot afternoon but to settle down and write you a line. I've been meaning to warn you, but from Minnesota, hell, it's been a very long time. You wear it well, a little out of time, but I don't mind. Well, I suppose you're thinking I bet he's sinking or he wouldn't get in touch with me. No, I ain't begging or losing my head. I sure do want you to know that you wear it well. There ain't a lady in the land so fine. Remember them basement parties, your brother's karate, they all did rock and roll shows. Them homesick blues, red
this time a lot of things are going on with the group. Ron Wood is kind of sitting in with the Rolling Stones. He eventually joins the Rolling Stones in 1969, but he still kind of plays with Faces, you know, when they go out and perform. Steve Marriott, who now has formed his own band with Peter Frampton called Humble Pie, does real well. Now the thing about Small Faces and Faces, they never did really well in the United States. They were a big band in the UK because of being a mod band. Mod scene wasn't as big in the United States, if any at all, like it was in England. And so they never kind of broke through on the American market. So Steve and Peter Frampton get in this band Humble Pie, and they tour the United States and kick ass. The group Faces finally breaks up. Again, Ron Wood is still in the Stones. Of course, Rod Stewart's career is taking off. And one of the things I noticed doing this particular channel, there are a lot of groups in England, not so much in the United States, although there are some, in England that performers, musicians that were popular or known or doing well in bands have a tendency to switch bands. It's very common for performers in England, at least during this time, to go ahead and leave their band because they're not happy with it or the band breaks up, and joining other bands to form almost like super groups, like Ronnie Woods did and Rod Stewart joining Faces. In the United States, it happens a little bit. Normally, well, in the United States, normally any kind of swapping of musicians out happens before a band gets popular. So when they finally hit it big, that band is the band that they're going to use, unless something happens like someone dies or something. But in England, it happens quite a bit. Of course, the minute I say that, I'm thinking about other groups in the United States that have done similar things, like Buffalo Springfield and the Byrds kind of swapped players around a little bit in the mid-'60s. And then, of course, you had Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young, one of the first super groups with guys from the Byrds, the Hollies, and Buffalo Springfield joining together. And then you also had bands like, well, like the Eagles. You know, the Eagles at one time lost different musicians and brought in Joe Walsh, or they brought in Timothy Schmidt to, to finish or complete their band. So it's not that unusual. And of course, one of the largest super bands recently was the Traveling Wilburys, as you all know that band. Anyhow, thanks for watching this edition of Single Stories, and we'll see you next time.
Like and subscribe. Y'all come back now, you hear?